Welcome everyone to this discussion with Lee Collins and Sadar Bahar. They are playing back to back tonight for the Rush Hour night at the Stables from 12:30 to 2:30. So make sure you check that out. Yes, yes. All right. So we're gonna dive into this. Just want to give you a little bit of a background on our two guests. Sadar Bahar was born in New Jersey in the late 60s, and his family relocated to Chicago in the early 70s. When he was a young DJ, Chicago was filled with DJs who mostly played house and disco sounds, and he chose a different direction, playing rare and hard-to-find grooves. Sadar and his partners began developing their own unique sound, known as soul in the hole music. For them, it's strictly vinyl and vinyl only. And together with his partner, Lee Collins, Sadar selected tracks for the very influential Soul in the Hole compilation on BBE. Sadar has been digging for records all his life and has yet to take a break. Chicago's Lee Collins, welcome, has been serving the funky grooves to music lovers for over 20 years. Born and raised in Chicago, he has been playing records since he was 13 years old. He began as a student under such DJs as Frankie Knuckles, Farley Keith, Robert Owens, and Ron Hardy. Not bad people to learn from. Yeah. Soon, he developed the kind of progressive funky soul sound that he is known for today. And after years of radio shows and club night, Lee teamed up with Sadar and Russell to form the production company called Soul in the Hole. And after 20 years, he's still a major figure in Chicago and plays to a packed house every week. So, welcome. How are you guys? You guys are good?
Yeah, excellent.
You guys are good? So I think you guys are in the middle of a tour right now. Are you touring together? Are you doing dates mostly together?
Yeah. We just left London, then we went to Bristol, and then to Lisbon, and then Amsterdam, then over to here. So it's been fun, yeah.
And right before that, I just came from Berlin. We just did a party in Berlin, too.
Yeah, he was in Berlin before I met him in London, so I missed the Friday party. I heard they had a good time. Yeah.
So can you, you guys obviously probably both met in Chicago. Can you give me a little bit of the background story of how you two met and began to collaborate together?
Man, when I first met Lee, it was back at it was Ronnie Hardy's party, and I knew his sister Stacy. She was working there doing things, and she kept telling me when she heard the kind of music and stuff I was into, like, you gotta hear my brother, you gotta hear Lee, you gotta hear Lee. She kept saying that. And then when she finally points him out, I'm like, I see that guy all the time next to Ronnie, when he's playing the box and all this. So ended up talking to him, we hooked up and been stuck ever since. Always in the stores or going through each other's records, or like it's a sickness that we share, the records.
Yeah, so. When I really saw Sadar and I really saw that the music he had, it was enlightening because he was doing what I was doing. And very people in Chicago were doing that. I mean, he was really digging for records. I mean, he was really trying to find, hot music, and a lot of people were just playing whatever was out, and he wasn't. And I was like, I need to be with him, because he's doing what I'm doing, so ever since then, it's just been so in the hole.
Explain to me a little bit, so tonight you're playing back-to-back. Is that something that you do often? And explain to everyone here, what is your process to playing back-to-back, what you like from it? Yeah.
I think normally, like when we play, he'd just do his set, I do my set, we'd just say like, you want to go first or you want to go last, we'd switch up. But I think the first time was when we were in Berlin.
Yep.
Yeah, we were in Berlin. And they asked like, have y'all ever played back-to-back, one record? And we were like, no. They were like, do y'all mind doing it? We were like, yeah, like, sure, let's do it. And people liked it a lot. So, people was like snapping off like, man, did you all rehearse this? I'm like, no, he just asked us to do this,
We did the same thing we would normally do.
Yeah. So it was funny. That was like the first time I think we ever done it. And then the second time was just recently in London.
In Lisbon.
In Lisbon?
Lisbon.
London?
It was in
Lisbon.
Lisbon.
In Lisbon was the second time. because we had like an hour apiece, and then there was another hour left out. So instead of doing an hour and a half, we just said the last hour, let's go back and forth, which turned into 2 hours. So
It happens.
yeah,
So completely unscripted. Someone
Yeah,
goes
you
first,
know.
and then it's 1-1 all night.
we having fun, just trying to make the people happy, putting that music in their ears.
But you can't really decide ahead of time what you're gonna do. So
Right, because you never know what he gonna play.
Yeah,
He
look
don't
at
know what
people.
I'm gonna play, so it's like
Right.
something hard to practice.
it's
I don't know what I'm gonna play. I'm going off of what he just played. Like,
right,
okay,
knocking off what he just
I
played.
gotta
and
find
then-
something that speed. And that'll
Do
go.
do either of you either surprise yourself and put yourself, oh shit, I didn't think he was gonna play that. Now I don't know what to play.
I'm
Or
always
are you
shocked
guys pretty much in sync?
See, when you playing with like another serious collector like that, it's like you never know what to expect. So it's just like, your turn is coming. Get in your bag and get ready. That's something that's going to compete with that. That on the same level, in which we seem to do good. Yeah, like I guess we got like the same ears.
Well, we're all gonna check that out tonight.
Yeah.
So can you explain to me, because I grew up in Montreal, far away from all the DJs we mentioned from Chicago. Can you explain to us what it was, very briefly, what it was to grow up in Chicago, surrounded by people like Ron Hardy and Frankie Knuckles?
Wow. Intense.
Yeah.
I mean, really. I mean, we had so much music. I mean, it was just they would I'm sorry, I have a little cold, but they were feeding us all the time. They always gave us pop music, gave us something to buy. When we left the party, we had to go record shopping.
Yeah.
Because whatever was playing, we didn't have, and we needed to get it. And so it was always an educational kind of thing. It was people were going crazy as far as the crowd goes, but
Right.
those of us who were like looking for music, it was a gold mine. I mean, and it like never really stopped until it really stopped. And we never thought it would actually end, and it did. But
Right, because back in that time, you're young, you having the time of your life, you partying, you never think that the DJ might pass away, and that happened to us a couple of times, Unfortunately, we lost Ronnie Hardy in '92, and then we recently just lost Frankie Knuckles. So, it's like you appreciate all the times you did have with them because, you thought you were just partying, but you were really in school, and you were learning cuts, so it was cool. So that's why, when we come out, we try to do the same thing. We take care of, the people who just come to party, but we want to make sure we take care of the collectors too and then other people who come. So it's like mixed, We make sure, try to make everybody happy.
So you learned from serious house legends, but the sound that you two guys formed was, inspired, but a bit different.
Yeah.
Can you explain to us a little bit about Soul in the Hole and a little bit about how it was for you guys to forge your own lane within Chicago, which is so much associated with house?
It was not really that hard because everybody was playing house, and it's kind of like not real cool when you go to a party and everybody playing the same music, pretty much like it is today. When I check on Facebook, I see these guys like they sharing the same folder. And I'm like, man, I don't think I'll ever play on the computer if that's what's going to happen. I'm like, but it might be different times at the party, but you hear the same songs. And I'm like, don't you know your boy just played that? Or, it's like a different era now. It's like now the DJs are more about themselves than the people. And I'm like, you here to perform. You're here to make sure the people have a good time, not you. And it's, I hate to go, it's how the way we was raised. When we came out, we had a good time. The next day you couldn't wait to be like, man, you hear that shit, man? What was that third record? I don't know, man. Did you ask Ryan? Did you ask Frankie? And it was fun.
There's no Shazam back then.
Yeah.
right.
And it's like now we still having fun, but I don't really care about the Shazam because most people come up telling me, man, it's not available, and I'm like, what is that? What is that you're holding? So it's like you got to do your homework. You got to work. Ain't no shortcuts.
And then there's a lot too. It's a different way of looking at things too, because a lot of times people want you to hear the music. But I need you to feel the music.
Right.
You know what I mean? I need you thinking about it after the party's over. You know what I mean? That's really what we want to do. We don't want you to be like, the music stopped. We're not thinking about it anymore. Like, no,
Right.
want it humming in your head like all week. You know, because
Right.
quality music will do that.
Right.
You know?
And that's the way it was like back in the days, like even before us. You know, that's why your parents had records at home. You know, you come in there, mom and dad got cuts. You know, real DJs, that's where your first collection come from.
Absolutely.
You know, robbing mom and dad, like, hey, you don't play this no more. Let me get this. Get out of my shit. Then after a while, go ahead, take it.
Took over all of it.
Yeah. And then your neighbors got to look out. You know, all the people you knew who was playing records. And yeah, your father used to have some cuts, man. What's up with you? Before you know it,
Got theirs too.
you ready.
Yeah. So both of you guys have been collecting for over 30 years.
Easy.
Can you describe the place that record digging takes in your life right now? Is the passion still as strong as it was when you started?
Now I think it's kind of even more serious because you got a lot of DJs out here who agree with you and like, yeah, I don't like that other stuff either. So they try to clone you out. And a lot of them got bread, you know, so they can clone you out if they, you know, had the time machine. So I'm thanking God that they didn't start when I started because they're still way behind. But sometimes you would get shocked. You'd be like, whoa, he playing that. And they like, I heard your mix. And I'm like, good one. Like, damn, it took me 5 years to find that record. You know, he's like, could you sign this? I'm like, sure. What the fuck? So it's cool, you know, it's making it live again, you know, and it's like back in those days we really weren't playing those 7 inches, so now we collecting 45, so it's like being young again, you know, you feeding off of the energy and the time just now in your lifetime, so I love it.
It's digging is always a necessity. I mean, if you're gonna play good things, you have to go find it.
That's
right?
right.
I mean, you can't do it if you don't have it. And so, the only way to not have the same thing everyone else has, you have to go look personally and go find something different. And if you don't, you sound like everyone else.
That's right.
Are you guys digging mostly into 70s, 80s, 90s, or are you guys interested in
Everything.
digging into contemporary records also?
Everything.
Yeah, I really became a DJ to play new records.
Yeah.
That was the point of it all. It just so happened that new records stopped being funky. And so I kind of relied on the backlog of music I had. And that it kind of formed who I became, but it wasn't my intention.
Yeah.
So I'm always looking for the hottest, newest thing I can find. If it's available, I'm going to play it.
Yeah.
But
How do you feel about online record digging? Do you guys, spend most of your time and money in record shops, or how do you feel about platforms like Discogs and eBay and PopPsych and everything else?
I think it's cool, you know, for people, you know, to have another way to try to find records and get records, because some people, you know, older now, got families, wives, kids, they can't really get out to the store and be in there digging for hours and hours and hours, you know, so it's cool they got things like Discogs and stuff, but I think it's better for you to go, you know, if you can get the time and go through the stores, because you will save a lot more money. You know, if you find this record yourself, you probably knock a couple of $100 off of it, you know, because Discogs is going to give you the Discogs price. You know, same with like Dish Union or any of them, which is kind of fair. You know, eBay, you know, everybody wants, you know, to get paid for what they found, but the best storage is like when things are out of order. You know, I hate to go somewhere and it's too organized, everything A to Z. I'm like, God, he knows what he got. But when I come somewhere and the Z's are next to the A's and the A's are next to the N's, I'm like, let me take off my coat like I'm going to be here. Because I'm going to have to go through every record, you know, because if you don't, you know, right when you're ready to leave, you see something, and you're like, wow, if I wouldn't have stayed longer, I wouldn't have found this. And then you're looking at the rest of the stuff you didn't go through, and you end up having to stay.
Yeah.
yeah, that's about the size of it.
Yeah. Is it difficult to go to a record store and dig with a friend? Is it difficult to, like, if you're looking for a record for many years and you find it in the bin that you're in, do you guys ever get into arguments?
Never. See, it's cool with me record shopping with Lee because I know, you know, Lee know a lot of music. You know, Lee know a lot of stuff. And what's good is it be different a lot of times than the stuff that I'm digging and that I'm on. So it works out good. I might be like, Lee, you have this? No, what's that? Or man, Sadar, you got this? No, what's that? You know, and I hear, damn, this is this, you know. So it works out good. But I don't like shopping with some of my friends who really just getting started like about 10 or 12 years ago. Because then when you find stuff that you can sell or trade, they're like, man, let me get that. And you're like, oh, man, you know, come on, man, how many of those do you have? And you're like, here, you know, because you can't argue with him because he know what you got. But people don't understand. I'm not buying records to have 10 copies or something. You can use it like to trade with, and sometimes you see people who got records that you want, and they'll make a trade with you. But if you only have one copy, you're not going to cut off your left arm and get a right one. You want both arms. So
Yeah.
always when you see a cut and it's something hot, buy it again, keep it. It's gonna come. It's gonna come to use.
Yeah, shopping
Yeah.
for me is usually either with Sadar or by myself, most of the time, because I get into that middle zone and I don't know that anybody else can really stand to hang out in the record store with me all day. So that's really what I'm gonna do all day. I'm gonna look through these records. I'm gonna play. That's all I'm gonna do. And very people really want to spend their day doing that, So it's pretty much just us or me. Like I said before, I think my son with me sometime now because he's a little older, so he likes music too. But really just me.
Do you have any favorite record shops in the world, or a favorite digging city, perhaps? Any highlights for you?
I think I had the most fun and do the most digging when I'm in Japan, because it's like when I come in the stores there, it remind me of like Chicago back in the days. Because what a lot of the Japanese did was they came to the U.S. and brought up everything. They didn't know what to really buy, so they come in there and brought all the soul, all the disco, all the funk. So a lot of stores I used to go to that's in Chicago and close to Chicago, like Wisconsin and places. I would get good cheap deals. I go there and I don't see any disco, no soul. I'm like, man, where's the music? Oh, the Japanese came. Like, he's happy, because they pay for it. And I'm like, they brought everything? Like, yeah, they brought everything. I'm like, goodbye,
The exact same thing happened in Montreal. They just containers.
Yeah, they come serious.
How about you?
I tend to go to like in Chicago, a place called Hyde Park Records. They tend to have some of the best variety. I mean, things just kind of come through there that you don't expect. And so I'm always in there just making sure that I don't miss something crucial that I need to have.
Yeah.
But I can always go there and come with something that I can actually play that night if I really wanted to. So that's probably my favorite spot. I mean, I don't do a lot of record shopping when I'm out, but when I'm at home, that's really what I do.
Can you look in the bag and maybe pick out a record that we can listen to? I'll give him some time. So I'll ask Sadar another question while Lee finds a record. So if you could only save one record from a fire, which one would it be? Or a section of your collection? That's hard. I'm sorry. Or how about another question?
That's terrible, right? I'm just thinking, man.
I'm sorry.
I'm like, when I actually be going through records or just trying to grab whatever I can, I'm just thinking, like, what the fuck? I'll probably burn up in there trying to get too much.
I feel that. I think everyone that's active on Discogs, we have a wish list, a want list. So on Discogs or not, how many records would you say you've been looking for years and still frantically looking for a copy? Is it 10 records, 100 records? Is it like very limited list, or? It's
like real small now. It used to be real big, but it's like, I guess doing a lot of traveling and meeting a lot of collectors all over the world, people help you out. The music game is a love game, and it's been many a times, I see guys, and it make you do the same thing. Certain cats like, oh man, I've been looking for that, you be like, here, because you got a few copies of it, and he seriously wants it, and you've been there before as well. So it's like everybody looks out for each other. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
And then with the knowledge too, sometimes you're in these other countries and you have no idea of what the record is, and they like, oh yeah, this comes from here. This is such and such and such, and the whole crowd is singing it. But I'm like, I've never heard this. And when I play it in Chicago, no one's gonna know what it is, but it's a cut. So you gotta just keep digging and keep shopping, keep picking people's brains. But a lot of the stuff I found, that I was looking for, that Tomorrow's People I was looking for 10 years, and the guy in Japan, Haru, he's a DJ, he just gave it to me, and I was like, what the, and I started to miss out on it because he wanted me to come to his house to do a radio show that he does every week. And I'm like, I'm not really into that internet stuff, man. I'm not, trying to be on the internet playing, records. come on, please, Sadar, do it for me. Da, da, da. I said, come on, man, let's go. And then I went and did it. And then at the end, he pulls out the Tomorrow's People. And I'm sitting there like, I done looked out. Now he about to tease me and shit. You know, I'm like, what the fuck? But he was giving it to me. He was like, here, guaranteed. So I was like, oh, man, thank you. Like, almost in tears.
Cool. So let's take a little music break, and I'll let you handle it since I don't want to mess up your records. So Lee, tell me a little bit about this one.
This is a tune by Esther Williams. Actually, I was hanging out with a friend of mine named Michael Conti, and we used to do mixes all the time. I was on WHBK, University of Chicago radio station, and I was playing records one day, and he just played this. I'm like, what the hell is that? And he was like, you don't have this? I'm like, no, I don't have it. And then he ended up giving me his, and so this is it. Actually, what he gave me. So when I heard it, I was like, this is something I need to have, like now. So
Now.
yeah, right now. So he gave that to me, and I was like in like 84, 83, something like that.
Is it a particularly rare record?
No, not necessarily rare. It's just that you don't hear it a lot, you know.
Yeah, I'd like to know what you guys think, because I've heard a lot of both your mixes, and you guys really balance out rare records and just slept on records that aren't necessarily rare. Tell me about the importance of not judging records based on whatever the value is. Just tell me what you feel about balancing rare and just slept on records.
It's really like just looking for that good sound, you know, like something that's a cut, you know. It don't have to be expensive, you know, it don't have to be rare. If it's good, it's just good. You know, that's what I was saying. Like, a lot of people think we really just into old music, but that's not true. We love new music, old music, whatever's hot, you know. You can't really say you don't like something until you hear it. And then all the new music turn old. So if you know, don't buy the new music, soon you won't have no music. It's just the old music you have. So, you know, you have to stay fresh, you have to stay in the game, and you have to hear other DJs. You know, I know a lot of DJs don't listen to other DJs, and I'm like, you can't do that. You know, them like your coworkers, they doing the same thing you're doing. They trying to beat the party and do this, and they might have cuts that you haven't heard yet. You know, just like you have a lot of stuff you know they haven't heard yet. It works both ways. It's like you got to go check them out, see what they're working with, what's hot, what the crowd is jumping off of that you don't have, and go get it. You know?
Yeah, it's really about the sound. I mean, it's really what it is. I mean, some things are rare, some things are not rare, but you're building a night, right? You're building an expectation from the people. You're giving them something. So it has all the parts in it, right? It has rare stuff, that stuff that's not so rare, it has new things. All that makes your part. So you need all the ingredients.
Yeah. So you mentioned the Tomorrow People record, which was recently reissued last year.
My friend did that floating point sound. Did that. Yeah, he put it like that. I was cracking up when I saw the cover. It's like somebody drew it.
Yeah.
The original cover don't look like that, but it was funny. I wonder why he didn't just take a picture of the original, but it was cool, you know.
Yeah. I wanted to talk about the market of reissues. The last few years has absolutely exploded, and I wanted to ask you guys who have been doing it for a long time, just digging records, not necessarily reissues, but I wanted to ask you if you think there's any ethics or principles that people should follow when it comes to reissuing music. Do you think there's a right way and a wrong way of doing it?
Definitely. If you're going to reissue something, you should get up with the artist, you know. If you're doing like an edit or something like that, I can see you not really contacting them because you like doing your own thing. But if you're going to put back out his piece, you should contact them and let them know, like, hey, you know, that's what's been really taking so long with the next BBE compilation, because a lot of these people are hard to get in touch with. You know, these records were rare back then in the 70s. Now it's 2017 and we're trying to find these people. So, you know, and if we don't get it cleared, it's not going to be on the record. So I was real happy, you know, the first compilation that me and Lee did, you know, for BBE, it went off good, because a lot of the records we wanted on there, we couldn't get on there, because we couldn't find the people, or we found the people and they were like, hell no, you know, so. Right, so it's fun though, you know?
Yeah. How about you?
Well, re-releases are I mean, they're it's obvious people want to make money on their product, right? And whenever they see that, well, maybe it didn't sell as much before, but now there's an interest, so we can probably sell it again. I mean, that's perfect business sense for me. I mean, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. Just like Sadar said, it's got to be the guy who made it doing it. I mean, other than that, it's not really, a re-release. It's just a bootleg, which is something different.
Yeah. I'll let you pick another record and we'll take another music break. Yeah. So you guys are known for playing only vinyl. I wanted to ask you what you think the role of vinyl is in the DJ culture, because a lot of the reissue bubble that's been happening the last few years is mostly based on casual listeners, right? So where do you think the state of the vinyl is in DJ culture?
I think right now it's like at a real big comeback, because a lot of people who are not DJs are back in and just buying records and playing records, and that's a good thing. I see a lot of people in the stores who not DJs who just buying records, for themselves, and then you go to these like hi-fi stores, you see all of these real super funky record players they make it now and everything. It's not like for the DJ, you can't spend on that. It's for you to go home and listen to your collection, enjoy your records. So I think it's an excellent thing, and then it helps out a lot stopping all of the bootlegging. Now if you put something out this on CD or whatever format they're using nowadays, everyone can bootleg it like right away. I hear people saying that all the time, like, man, it's good you put yours out on vinyl, because if not, everybody will just burn it for the next person, and so that makes it where the artists don't make any money. So we pretty much just always been vinyl heads, and I'm like, if something's not broke, don't fix it. I'm not trying to learn this new technology like that.
If there's something that I have to play and it's on CD, then I have to play it. That's rare. Most of the time I'm going to play vinyl, but if you give me something that's just so hot, I play what's hot, so I don't have any rules really. Yeah. But vinyl is just my bread and butter, so that's kind of what I do by default.
Yeah. Why don't we listen to another little gem?
This is something new.
Something new?
Yeah.
Another nice selection. What's this one?
This is by a group called House of Spirits. Came out like 2015 or so. Mm-hmm. So anything that's like that, it's like they want to make music, I want to play it. You know what I mean? So they heard, obviously, so many stuff in here.
Yeah.
To even have these ideas. So I always want to promote anybody that's trying to make the music that I've been living all my life. So this is just an example. I was in gramophone one day, just looking through records, and Mike Serafini was like, "You gotta have this." I was like, "Okay," and I played it. I was like, "No, I need two of them." So I bought another one. I think Sad's got one. Because we have to, this is what we try to. When we play new music, we want stuff like that. I mean, that's when we try to promote things that are just funky all inside, and so that's something you can feel. So that's why I just chose that one.
No, I think it's great that you guys don't set yourself boundaries of like we're only playing that era, those years. So I think that's great. I wanted to ask you if you have any tips or tricks or guidance for any young diggers who might only be 2-3 years, 1 year into this world.
Get ready to spend all of your money on vinyl. Get ready to make sure you have room in your house, because you're going to realize records come to every room. You'd be like, this is going to be the record room, and that doesn't work. After a while, every room is the record room. You start trying to see which room are you going to make where you don't have to see records. Like your little getaway. And gonna have fun, get ready to have some fun.
I would say, don't worry too much about where you get the record from. It's all about the sound of the music. Okay, if it costs a lot of money, that's great. If it's cheap, that's great. What does it sound like? And how does it flow with the rest of the music? That's what you want to focus on. A lot of times people tend to focus on, well, I paid $500 for this, so it must be good. No, it's just $500. That's all it is.
Right. And don't fall into that, because a lot of people do. I have so many collectors that call me, man, this is so rare. Y'all pay like $2,000. You hear it, you be like, why?
There's a reason.
Because I'm like, you can't dance to it. I'm like, what is it for? You know, you're gonna edit it or cut it up? You know, it's like,
So yeah, it's all about the style. No matter where you are, no matter what you're digging for, that's the key.
Yeah, forget the hype.
Exactly.
sometimes.
Sometimes the hype is
Sometimes the hype is real and you be like, what the? Yeah. This guy in Japan, in this union, had brought these two 7-inches out, and one was 6,000 and one was like 4,000. And I'm like, $10,000 for two 45s? And my friend was in Japan with me kicking it, Mark Gurney. He's also a DJ, but he's in London. And so he took a picture of both of the records and put them up on Facebook. And the next day, we back in the store shopping, and the guy comes up like, yeah, thanks, Mark. And I'm like, looking at Mark like, what, did you buy them? And he was like, no, he put them up on Facebook, and two people, you know, brought them. One guy brought one morning, and the other one brought them in the afternoon. I'm like, who buys those kind of records? You know, I've never even heard of these two records. I'm like, who's playing $6,000 and $4,000 records that we don't know of, you know? But it's like, it's a serious game. It's a lot of collectors and a lot of people that got heat in their house that you would never imagine. You know, might be some of your parents, I don't know, you know. People collect music, and that's what they do, that's their thing. And then when you hear them, it's just like, wow. It's a sickness. I'm convinced
It never stops.
you can't stop.
Yeah, so I also would like, speaking of hype, I wanted to talk about the fact that disco and, you know, let's call it organic dance floor music in general has really made a really strong comeback and for a huge new generation of people. As two guys who have been into that specific sound for 30 years, what has it been for you guys to all of a sudden be playing, you know, for massive audiences and playing around the world? And maybe, you know, are you sometimes surprised by how far it's come back? Or
Yeah, I'm always surprised. I mean, to be honest with you, Sadar had a little idea, but I never knew that it would be that big. You know, I always thought it was like, if you come to Chicago, we had a few clubs like the Music Box, the Warehouse, things like that. And when those were kind of over, I had a place I worked there called Bad Boys. And when it was done, I didn't know what we were going to do. I thought it was done. I thought it was over, you know? And then Sadar was more like, no, we just started. And it was like, okay, let's do it again. And so I look up, and everybody wants to hear this music now, which I had no idea. So it's very shocking to me. I didn't know.
It's like when you doing something in a time of your life, and it's like you having like the best time you've ever had in your life. You like, I know other people would like to enjoy this. It's not just me, you know. And when you start seeing the scene like dwindling and kind of going away, you know, because for a while, you know, the city really came down hard on the parties. You know, they shut down that 12 to 12 life, you know. Yeah, they're like, what are you doing there? You know, 2 in the morning is enough to party, then go home. You know, they try to shut it down. You know, 1:30, they give it the last call for alcohol. They want to get you out, you know, and let you get home. But I'm like, there's no fights. There's nobody getting hurt. You know, what's the problem? Then I see these hip-hop clubs where people are actually getting killed going to 6 in the morning. So I start realizing to the government it's just about money. You know, at our parties, a lot of people are dancing, so they're not hitting the bar too much. They're out there spinning around. You're not going to do that when you're drunk. You know, so it's like when you go to their parties and you see these guys buying bottles and big bottles coming to the table, I'm like, oh yeah, so of course they're going to love the hip-hop over the disco scene. You know, like these guys got money. You know, so it's a big difference, you know, in the music scene in Chicago on what genre of music you listen to. And I noticed like it's not like that. A lot of places, you know, people listen to everything. Yeah. You know.
Is that still the case? The scene right now in Chicago, is it still in a rocky place?
It's growing. It's getting a lot better because we got a new mayor. You know, Ron Emanuel. He kind of likes the music, so you know, it's a lot better. He's letting some of the underground clubs come back to life. Like one of our friends had just opened up a club where we be banging at the EXP, and sound system's right. You know, the neighbors are not complaining. It's lovely. So I'm just praying it continues. Yeah.
You guys are both from the U.S. I'm from Canada. Do you see a difference in the North American crowds versus European crowds? Is there enough of space for this sound that there is at Dimensions in North America, or is North America so focused on just top 40 stuff?
Well, I was in Montreal I think it's a couple of years ago. They party like the best party in Chicago. I mean, they were there to party. They did it all night long. We were there from like till 6, 7 in the morning. So all of North America's ready. It's just a matter of somebody actually putting it forth so they can do it. Right. That's really what it is. Just give it to them with the party. Yeah. And that's what we try to do. But yeah, people want music. You know, they want to get out.
Yeah, that's something I noticed. A lot of times the audience is ready. The people want the music. The DJ's just scared. You know,
right.
I'm not going to play that. It's going to play on the floor. Let's do this. And I used to always tell people, well, if you don't play it, how are they ever going to get to know it? You know, that was my big question always. You know, they're like, don't play that. Or, you know, they're not ready for that. I played that before. It cleared the floor. And then you play it, and you see people jumping around dancing to it. You look at them like, I thought you said they didn't like this. Well, they didn't like it when I played it. Right? So I was like, you know, dude, you gotta just give the people the music. Just give it to them. You know?
Yeah. Sometimes you gotta give people what they need, not what they want.
Right, exactly. Let them have it.
Yeah. Sadar, you recently released a record with Ben Spander on BBE called Red, White, and Blues. Can you tell me just a little bit about that project?
Yeah, Ben Spander's a good friend of mine. He lives out in Utrecht where the studio is. And me and him been working for like a couple of years, just, you know, in the studio working on music and, you know, bringing in different live musicians and having them play and everything. So we've been just, you know, having a real good time. And then now recently we've been actually getting the music out to the people, which is good. So now I'm getting a chance to see, you know, like all these years we've been sitting in the studio, you know, was it, you know, really a good thing or a bad thing? And the people have been showing love, you know. Antel told me to release it Rush Hour. It's been selling real good. He done had to reorder like 3 times. And now the one for Peter and the BBE just got released, so I'm hoping it does the same or better, you know. To let you know, like, you know, people are ready. You know, they want to hear some real music. Yeah.
Available now on BBE?
Yeah.
Yeah. Last question. I'm gonna let you pick one more song so we can have a nice music interlude. Before the Q&A, prepare some questions if you have some questions. I'll start with you, Sadar. Is there anyone at Dimensions Festival that you're looking forward to checking out?
Man, it's like so many. You know, I was almost crying in tears when my agent told me that I was not going to see Grace Jones. I was like, what? I'm like, I finally get to see Grace Jones. Like, it's going down, and she's just quiet, and she said, you have a party that night. I said, what? Like, I'm not going to see Grace. So that killed me. But then I heard, you know, my boy, one of my brothers is here, Theo Parrish, and I definitely wanted to catch that. I wanted to see my boy Sam Shepard, Floating Points. I heard I just missed that. He took off, I heard. Yeah. And I'd like to see my boy Antel from Rush Hour. He played some good cuts. And then I heard another one of the brothers is here, Giles. So Giles Peterson's here. I want to check that out. And then Lee just told me Danny Craven is here. He talked to Danny, he said he was here. So yeah, I gotta really start getting these schedules and looking at who's at these festivals, because it kills you when you find out something you really wanted to see is there and you didn't know about it and you miss it. So that way, you know, this time I kind of knew what was up, because I've been getting beat up so bad this month, missing acts. I wasn't gonna do that here. So we got a list to hit.
So let's listen to one more track before we dive into the Q&A. What's this one?
This was Funkified. It's something that we put on the compilation for BBE. This is the original right here.
So let's, anyone have any questions for Lee or Sadar, or for both?
So, we talked a lot about like what records have been in the past, but you said like really good, the music game is the love game. So, given that, how do you see like digging for music and the relationship between digging to music and DJs who play music going forward? Do you feel like hopeful about the future of like people who are finding music in the record stores and online, playing like and feeling like passionate about what they're playing, having found it, not just hearing what other people have played and borrowed from that?
Well, I think it works like 2 ways. Like, I've heard some of the younger cats that really sound good, that's, you know, digging and doing their thing and, you know, really sound good. And then I've heard some that's like kind of went their own direction, which is cool. You know, you're trying to find yourself, but it's not really like danceable. You know, it's music, but it's not really like dance music.
Yeah.
And I noticed that with some of the guys. I'm like, you know, you don't want to get too far out there that you're not, communicating with the rest of the people. That can happen real quick to a DJ. I told one of my friends who like to go real, real deep, and I told him that's cool, but you need to still learn some of the other stuff, the commercial stuff, top 40 type stuff, because if not, you're going to have a real small party. It'll be you and a bunch of collectors. Nobody else don't want to come visit. So.
Hi. When you dig for records, what's the process? Like, are you looking at producers, or if you see a trumpet player and his heat, do you kind of have a listen? Like, have you just got any tips in general as to how you find the bangers that you play?
You definitely want to stick to a lot of artists that and a lot of musicians that check on the album, see if any of them playing. But if not, sometimes you just take a chance, listen to it, see what's going on with it. And especially if the dates is right, label is right, a lot of old rare labels and good stuff, people who, got a good record, a good record for having good records, you want to check them out and, listen to it.
Yeah, definitely producer and artist. But sometimes, especially if you're just digging, you can look at the album cover and just be like, I need to hear what he's doing, because he looks funky, that's it.
So, what advice would you give to entrepreneurs who want to start, their own labels or their own parties? Like, what's the key ingredients or the best advice you could give us who want to do that?
I would say to go for it, do it. A lot of times people try to tell you can't do things and you can't do this, just go for it. And make it happen. Don't take no for an answer. A lot of people used to always tell me, "Oh, you're gonna never find this record." Then I call them like, "Yeah, I got 3." You wanna buy one? Don't let nobody stop you. When they tell you stuff like that, just get mad as hell and really be like, "I'm gonna really go get this shit now." And don't let nothing stop you. Go for it.
We've talked a lot about digging, and that's obviously a really important part of you guys' careers. But how important is parties today for you guys as really experienced DJs and still testing out stuff, 30, 20, 10 recent records for you?
Well, I love it because the party, is jumping. You got a lot of youth involved now, so the kids really bring a lot of energy. It's like, I love it. It's like the best to me. I wouldn't change it for nothing. I know a lot of people talk about the past and how they wish the old party was back. I don't feel like that. I feel like, hey, that was for then and now this is for now. I'm not trying to go back. I want to go forward. I want to see what else the kids got to bring to this. And the older people too.
Yeah, it's always good to be at the party, to see what's going on and to understand what makes people move. I go to parties sometimes and DJs don't make people move. And I can analyze why that is. As opposed, when they do make a move, I think, okay, what do you do? So it's always education, right? Because music's changing, people are changing. There's new people coming all the time. So you don't have like a formula that's just gonna work all the time. So you're tweaking it as you go. You're always making it better. And you do that by watching the people.
And that's a major thing. You gotta watch the people. I know that so many DJs don't do that. If you see people bobbing their head, or even if they're not dancing and they tapping their foot, at least they into it and they grooving. But if people are like not feeling it at all, you got to change it up, go in another direction. Find them, find out where they at, and make them move.
Yeah, she was dancing all day, in the rain. She was dancing. All right, we're gonna let them take a breather before their set. I want to thank Lee and Sadar so much for the time.
Thank y'all for having us.
Very welcome.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure.